So this video is going to specifically be about data. In science, we get tons and tons of data. And that data is the information, basically, that drives all of this. So there's two types of data you can have. You can have qualitative data. Think of the word quality. Those are words data. They're good descriptors. You have to make sure that you keep qualitative data organized, because otherwise it'll come up as just a lot of jumbled words. Qualitative data is words, okay? Then you have quantitative data. Think of the word quantity and numbers. Quantitative numbers, okay? Quantitative data always needs a unit, and you can organize quantitative data in a table. So let's talk about qualitative data for a second. When you have qualitative data, you need to organize it in like a journal type format. It needs to be very specific. An example of use of qualitative data would be at the 20-second mark, the amount of the noise was as loud as a vacuum. So there's no specific numbers here. You know, if we're talking about the amount of noise, we could have measured it in decibels, but instead we were just comparing it to something else. It's really specific, not the noise got louder. What was it before? What is louder? You know, was it a jet engine plus an explosion, or was it louder as in it was silent and now it's someone breathing? And it's used usually in addition to quantitative data. You won't usually have a scientific experiment with qualitative data alone. And the reason for that is, just as I said before with the example of loudness, you really need those numbers to compare it to, so you have that justifiable mark of exactly where things were. So when we talk about quantitative data, you're going to put it in a data table. But how do you make this data table? So there's 3 easy steps to making a data table. You have to figure out how much data you are collecting. In each data piece you are collecting gets its own column. That's the up and down part. Okay? Each data piece you're collecting gets its own column, the up and down part, and that's how you determine the number of columns. How many trials are you doing? Each trial gets a row. Okay? And then do you need to calculate an average? If you need to calculate an average, it'll go at the bottom so you can easily calculate down. The most important part of a data table is to always include the units. And that's so that someone can take your data table separately and know what they're talking about. So remember, with a data table, 3 easy steps, and always include your units.